Welcome back to another episode of Expertly Unqualified. We are so happy, and by we, I mean I am so happy that you guys are here today. Today, I will be doing a solo episode solely for the reason of I wasn't very good at scheduling this past week. So, without further ado, I thought it would be fun to talk about some of the things that have been distracting me this past week, whether good or bad, and hopefully you can relate to it. Maybe you've been feeling something similar to what I've been going through. And yeah, just something like an easy listen on your Sunday or whenever you are listening to the podcast. As a reminder, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, all at Expertly Unqualified. Have been doing a better job of posting on Instagram more often and hope to continue to keep doing that. So if you're looking for more stuff like that, definitely check out our Instagram. And yeah, so I guess we can dive right in. It'll be a little different than our normal episodes, but that is okay. Sometimes it's go with the flow, and I feel like that's definitely what it is today. I was listening to a different podcast and someone described May as Maycember. So, you know how busy December gets with the holidays and specifically like in my family, birthdays and, parties, all that. Somebody described May as that, Maycember. So I don't know about you. Maybe you're finishing up school. Maybe your kids are finishing up school. Maybe people in your life are graduating. You got birthdays, you got Memorial Day, you got cookouts, who knows, weddings, all the things. And so I'm definitely feeling that in the second half of May, which is completely hard to believe that we're already like halfway through May. Mind blown. But yeah, definitely feeling that. I have to laugh at myself because every week Holly and I will text back and forth and say like, "Hey, what day this week works best for you?" All that fun stuff. And so we decided on like, "Oh, we'll record this day. Is it perfect? We're both free." Naively thought I could remember what day it was. So by the time I got to the end of the week, I was like, "Oh, hey, like what time do you want to record today?" And then I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I definitely said that we were free on a different day. And you know what? That different day was yesterday. So hence why it's a solo episode, but a great point. It's a great way to point out that yeah, we go with the flow sometimes. Sometimes life happens, you forget to write stuff down like me, and you flip flop all your dates. It's okay. But again, I wanted to discuss some of the things that have been distracting me this past week. Some fun things, some random things. And without further ado, let's see. So important note is to make sure you write stuff down because you just say you're gonna remember and you probably just like if you're like me, you probably just won't remember. And that's okay. That's a-okay. In no particular order. Okay. So someone on Twitter posted this and it could not be more relatable to our podcast and just in general. And so the tweet itself says, this is Cammy's tweet at Teen Rib. I have no idea who this person is, but I thought it's hilarious. And it says, Chicago's middle name is absolutely Marie, and my roommate and I have done our due diligence in deciding the middle names of other Midwest cities. So they sat down and gave a middle name to each Midwest city. Did anyone ask for this? No. Did we need this? Yes. So without further ado, I give her you the list that Cammy came up with, city middle names. And I don't know how or why, but they just go together. Chicago Marie, Milwaukee Lynn, Madison Ann, Des Moines Tammy, Toledo Louise, Minneapolis Grace, Omaha Jane, St. Paul Jean, Duluth Francis, Indianapolis Renee, Cleveland Ruth, Detroit Brooke, Columbus Eleanor, Wichita Leanne, Lincoln Faith, and St. Louis Elizabeth. I don't know how they came up with those, but I just feel like it's very accurate. And in one of my group chats with my friends, we all decided that Duluth Francis was probably the most plausible for somebody to name their kid. And let me just tell you, some of the people naming their kids, I'm like, have you really thought about this name might be cute for when they're 4 years old, but what about when they're 84? or maybe like 34 trying to get a job. You know, I don't know. I question a lot of people's names, but those middle names in the Midwest cities, I do not question. Chicago. Moving on to other things I saw on the internet that distracted me this week. I decided to treat myself one day, go to Dunkin'. It surprisingly tasted good. They have a new flavor out, which I didn't know. It's chocolate cookie, which is supposed to be like Oreo, and they have an Oreo latte. I just got it in my iced coffee with one caramel and one of the chocolate cookie. It was pretty good, very sweet, but good. And when I looked on their app, this is what came up. Dunkin' Dirty Soda. So for those of you who don't know, dirty soda is just a soda mixed with you can add flavorings and then also cream. This is something like people in Utah do. There's a lot of soda shops, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. That's all they ever talked about. So this one is a weird one. It says Crave-worthy. I don't think it is. Crave-worthy creamy coffee milk swirled with Pepsi, topped with sweet cream cold foam. I'm sorry. In what world does Pepsi and coffee go together? I would like to know. And if you've tried this drink, I want to know if you liked it because there's no way that it can actually be good. That's all I'm saying. This is just how my brain's working today. We're going bing, 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 bing. So hopefully you're with me. Moving on. Oh, we'll just keep with the phone theme today. Anybody else get that message of you need to update your phone? And then you go and click, and then it's like, ha ha ha, you have no storage left. How are you going to make storage space? I don't know about you, but have you ever gone through old photos and videos to try and make space on your phone? And you look back and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that time when I thought all these memes were funny. And then your whole camera roll is just a whole bunch of memes you found on Twitter. Because same, that's what I found on my phone. Additionally, I looked back at the videos on my phone, and while some of them are like cute and like, oh, that's a great time I remember, I've come to the conclusion of is it worth it to record a video of a concert? Now, I come at it from the angle of how often do you go back and look at that video to rewatch the concert? I guess I'm just not one of the people to rewatch it. My first concert was Taylor Swift back in high school, and I had really good seats and was super close. Do I ever rewatch any of those videos? No. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I will record at concerts now, but I never go back and look at them. Maybe that's an excuse to go back and look at them. Additionally, when you record a video at a concert, when you're recording, do you sing along to the song that they're playing? Because what I found out is when I watched those videos back like the day after going to the concert, is I don't sing very well, so why am I singing? So I've come to find out if you're recording a video of somebody performing and you really like the song, don't sing along to the song because then when you watch your video back, it's just gonna be you singing and you can't hear the people you actually went there to go sing. So I've learned that the hard way. Rolling into music, I have listened to Noah Kahan's The Great Divide, The Last of the Bugs album a bajillion times. So if you haven't listened to it, go give it a listen. It is top tier. There's so many cute little trends on Instagram with his songs, and so you should definitely listen to it. So that's distracted me. I started listening to the audiobook of Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke, and I was very intrigued by it. I had no idea what it was about. I thought the title was fun, and then my whole Instagram feed, and maybe yours is too, is read this book. Have you read this book? Blah blah blah. And it's honestly really good. And I like listening to it. Most of the time I don't really listen to audiobooks, but for something different on my walks, I've been listening to it only when I'm walking, which I know some people have mentioned that were like, oh, pick something to listen to that you only listen to when walking. So it's kind of fun. The premise of it is this lady lives on a farm with a bunch of kids. I think she's got five, with the sixth one on the way. And she's seems like she's a content creator. She makes a lot of money from brand deals. She's recording everything, and it's some sort of satire towards kind of making fun of or just like pointing out how some parents who are influencers or post a lot online in general, they have money so that they can have a nanny and a maid and all these others helps around the house. So are they really even raising their children? That sort of thing. And then she ends up falling asleep. I think that's what it was. I'm honestly not that far through the book, but I really like it. So then she goes to sleep and she wakes up and it's 1855, but she has no idea where she's at. And it's like similar to what she was like, uh, her family was like on the farm, but it's different. She doesn't know where she's at. So it's kind of like a rude awakening going from the influencer life to 1855. I'm probably describing it terribly, but I'm a few chapters in and I do really like that. So definitely check it out. It's super popular. You'll probably see a lot of people's opinions on your feed, but go check that out. Speaking of both music and audiobooks, if you use Spotify, you may have noticed this past week it's Spotify's 20th birthday. And so usually at the end of every year, they put out Spotify Wrapped. Holly and I talked about this on a previous episode way back when, where they discuss how many hours you've listened, how many artists you listen to, how many different songs, all that stuff. So they did something like that for the 20th anniversary, but they pulled when you first started listening on Spotify, what your first song was ever on Spotify, and who your most listened to artist was. And then they also created a playlist of your most listened to songs and how many times you've played them. And so it's crazy to look and be like, oh yeah, I've listened to the song 213 times. No wonder why I really like that song. But if you have Spotify and that showed up on your Spotify, I want to ask, how accurate was your first song? Because they give you like 4 options. They try to make it interactive. And they're like, which one was your first song ever that you listened to? Mine was one that I had never even heard of. I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this? What song is this? And granted, I've used Spotify for 10 years now, which is kind of crazy. But I was just like, I was hoping for a better song because I don't even know this artist or the song name. So I want to know what I was doing 10 years ago. In addition to that, they also updated the look of the app on your phone. They didn't tell anybody, you know? And oh, it also crashed this past week too. So it was just a whole thing with Spotify this past week. But they updated their logo. And usually it's just like a green circle with kind of like 3 black lines through it with black background. Well, they updated it to be a green disco ball with the 3 black lines, black background. But I hate to say it, it's kind of ugly. It's hard to tell that it's a disco ball. Green and the black blend in together. There's a lot of discourse online about this. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just Google it because there's probably going to be a bajillion people saying, yeah, it's ugly. Some people said they liked it, but I can't trust them. Oh my goodness. Okay, speaking of that, for the month of May, to not make it even more complicated than what it is, I decided to challenge myself since my running was over. I finished a half marathon last month. I wanted to change it up a little bit. The weather's getting nicer, so I challenged myself to walk on average. See, you got to throw that in there. On average, 10,000 steps a day. I know that every day is not going to be perfect, and maybe some days I'll be more adventurous than others, but I was doing 10,000 steps average. Let me tell you, it's challenging when your job isn't if you're on your feet all the time, like you're working at a store or Starbucks, you get 5 million steps in. If you're a teacher, a nurse, I would assume you got a lot of steps in like naturally throughout your day. If you work a desk 9 to 5 job, you you have to think about what you're doing to get those extra steps. There's some days I feel like where you don't think you hit that 10,000 step mark, but then you look down and you're like, oh, okay, I did walk through. So It's definitely been a challenge, and I know there's a lot of discourse where it's like, "Oh, you really don't actually even need 10,000 steps a day. It's just 2,000 more than what you normally get or whatnot." But it's been interesting to track it, and it's also been a good motivator of I feel like being lazy right now, but I did challenge myself to this, so I guess I should just get up and go walk. And I think the best part of it is that walking really isn't that hard or strenuous, and you can do it whenever, wherever, pretty much. So it's more of like a mental thing to get up and go and do stuff. And some days, don't get me wrong, some days I'm like, yes, I really enjoy. I usually go for a walk during the lunch, and I usually enjoy that. I'm like, yes. But then there's some days where you're just so tired, and the couch is calling your name, and you just gotta let the couch win. So I've been tracking my steps for every day. I don't know how good this past week was, but you know what? That's okay. It's a goal. It's an average, so not every day is gonna be perfect. So if you're looking to challenge yourself with a little challenge, that might be a good challenge for you. You don't have to choose 10,000. Maybe you normally get 10,000 steps a day. You want to go above and beyond. Do that. Maybe you average like 4,000 steps a day and 10,000 just seems outrageous. Do 6, 8,000, whatever you want. I just like it as a nice challenge. And I also like that it's only a month. I feel like that's long enough to get into a new routine, to try something new, but it's short enough to also be like, okay, that was nice for a month. Now I'm going to switch over to something else. And especially with the weather getting nicer, it's a lot easier to be outside, which is awesome. And I know that later on throughout the summer, it might be warmer, so you might not want to be outside as much. But that's just been a good challenge for me there. I'm trying to think of some other things that have distracted me this past. Okay, well, we can talk about some of the foods that I have been enjoying lately. And they're mostly snacks, okay? I didn't know this existed, but it's kind of fun. If you go to the dollar store, they have a whole bunch of different flavor packets for your water. Some people love them, some people hate them. I like one every once in a while. They make a Shirley Temple flavor. Who knew? I feel like Shirley Temple flavoring is coming back. Or I guess like making a state. It's never coming back. I should just say it's been here, but now it's becoming popular. And I do have to say it's pretty good. It's Ryler's Light brand. And I like to dilute them a lot because I feel like they're super sweet. But it does taste like a Shirley Temple, just flat. So who knows? Maybe you spice it up and add bubbling water to it. But that one was good. The other snack that's been distracting me this past week is Drizzlelicious. If you haven't heard this, you need to go Google. Do a little Google search. They're little rice cakes. There's 3 different flavors in this box you can get from Costco. We have cinnamon roll, birthday cake, and s'mores. Somehow, birthday cake came on top, out on top, top tier number 1 snack. They're like 90 calories per bag. They satisfy your sweet tooth, and they're just good. Yeah, so like I mentioned, some of the other things is picking out an audiobook to listen to when I'm walking outside. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's hard for me to just go be like, yes, I'm gonna go pump some iron, I'm gonna go lift, get ripped. In my head, yeah, I can work out in my head and be like, yep, 6 pack, it's on its way. But I've just been trying to find ways to make working out more enjoyable. And for a walk is not that big of a deal to me, like, that's easy, but just kind of a mental, like, "Okay, I can work out for half an hour." I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with me. Probably a lot of things, but it's fine. I decided to switch things up. So, the other day, it was super nice out, but I wanted to get a lift in. I was like, "What? I wanna be outside, but I wanna lift," you know? So, you know what I did? I just took my yoga mat, like, workout mat, outside, and I did it in the sunshine. I did my 10-minute ab workout in the sunshine. Um, and then I moved to the grass. There's a lot of like bugs and stuff. It was a little itchy, but you know what? I was outside. It was great. And I think switching it up too, like if you're in a rut and you're trying to get yourself to work out more, I think switching it up from what you normally do helps out a lot. So sometimes I have a hard time, like, you can look up videos or maybe you just know off the top of your head what you wanna do. I'm more of a somebody needs to tell me what I should be doing because if you say, "Okay, go work out. There's the gym," I'll overthink everything and then I won't work out and I'll just turn back around, you know? So I have the Peloton app and I find it very helpful because they have different length classes. So you could do 5 minute, 10 minute. If you want to do a 60 minute, switch it up. And they have this feature, it's called stacking. So if you go through and find 2, 3, 4 videos you like, you can put them in your stack. So once you start the first one, then it will go into the second one and third one. And it's a nice way to kind of bookmark what you want to do. And so instead of focusing on, "Oh, I'm gonna work out for an hour," instead, I just found little videos that I think would be fun. So I started with stretching. I know, mind blown, right? Who else forgets to stretch? Because I just decide not to, and then I regret that later. So I did a little stretch, then I did some abs. But you wanna know what I did? I found a video that had ab exercises that I didn't hate. I don't know about you, but when I do mountain climbers or bicycle crunches or some of the other crunches, when your like legs are going in and out fast, my hips pop every single time I do them. And so instead of just suffering through that, I decided to find a video that doesn't have any of those. And so it was enjoyable. And it's 10 minutes. You're done and you're like, wow, that was great. Why don't I do this every day? And then you wanna know what happens is you avoid it for another week. What? Who said that? I'm kidding. And then I did if you want a low impact exercise, you should definitely look up okay, you should look up low impact cardio. So it's kinda like dancing, but not exactly, but you're not jumping, so I find it easier to do than, like, high intensity. So I did that, and then I did a fun one the other day, it was a strength ladder. I used to do something similar to this in softball, but this one was a little bit different. You have a 5-minute block of time and you do, let's see, one, two, four different exercises. And so you go through and do those 4 different exercises. This one would be so easy to just create yourself. So the first one that they had us do is a backwards lunge, and you do 8 on each side. Then it's a forward lunge with an arm raise. Put your arms up, kind of like a goalpost, and you do 8 total. And then they had us do a caterpillar, which like you basically are standing up and then you like walk out to plank and then do 8 push-ups. And then the last one was very slow mountain climbers. So you do 8 of each thing. And then once you're done with the 8, then you do 6 of each thing. And then 4 and then 2 if you could get there. But once the 5 minutes are up, you take a break. And then I did it like 2 more times. So it's nice to be like, okay, I'm doing this for this many sets. Okay, move to the next one, move to the next one, move to the next one. Great. Now I can go down, fewer reps, fewer reps. And you just keep going. You don't have time to think. So I think that helps me a lot. But exercising, you should find a way to make it fun. Because if you're doing it and you hate it so much, it won't be sustainable. You won't feel like doing it. And then you'll just be mad at yourself for not doing anything because I've definitely been there. So find things that are fun to you. They don't have to be 4 hours long. It could be a 10-minute thing. YouTube is a great resource for that. There's so many different videos you can find, so many different fun ones. You can heck use like ChatGPT and I'll create a workout for you. Just find something that you enjoy and like to do. So I enjoy doing that. And then if you find something you like, do it in a different place. Like if you are tired of lifting or doing a workout in your living room, go do it outside. Switch things up. You know, if you normally drink your coffee inside on your couch, but it's really nice outside, go outside and enjoy your coffee. If you usually listen to your favorite album while laying on the couch, what if you listen to it while you walk? Just those tiny things I think will help make your life better in some sort of way. Like Liz Moody, the host of the Liz Moody podcast, has always had this thing called the novelty rule of you get stuck in a pattern of doing the same things over and over and over again each and every day and you get so bored of them. so bored of it. So if you just take a little bit of time and switch one little thing, you can really enjoy your day and remember what exactly you did. Because I don't know how many times you've gone through like a whole week and you can't even remember what you did on Tuesday. Adding a little novelty into your life will help with that. So that's my 2 cents on that. And finally, so many things have distracted me this week. And that's okay. Some weeks are like that. I will close it out with this. I successfully made a trip to Lowe's and didn't want to cry this time. I learned from last week. If you missed last week's episode, I basically described how I went into Lowe's, had no idea what I was looking for, where I was going, then struggled with putting mulch in my cart just to have them tell me that I could have just walked up to the cash register and said, "Hey, I need 5 bags of mulch. Can you put it in my car?" And they would have put it in my car. So there's that. But I successfully went to Lowe's. Yeah, I'm so excited for the garden. I've never had a garden before. So I got all different flowers. I made sure to watch my backyard. I'm like, all right, when is it shady? When is it sunny? Let me tell you, having a garden is not for the weak. I went and got all the flowers today. I have a raised garden bed, so that was easy to do. The dirt was already there. I just had to figure out what to plant where. I did a little bit of everything. Pray that it grows. I hope it grows. And then I have a section that had some weird bushes in it that were dead. So I scooped that all out. But then there was mulch, and then you dug down a little bit, and there's some rocks. It's a whole fiasco. And then I was like, oh, this looks nice. This looks nice. So not only do you have to have a bunch of time and stamina, you also gotta have a lot of money. I was like, I'm sorry, how much did you say all these flowers were? Because when you're shopping, it's just like, ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, squirrel. Yes, those flowers look great. So we'll definitely give you updates throughout the summer to see how that is going. But it's definitely fun to try and plan stuff out yourself, especially in your own yard. And the weather's getting nicer. It's that time of year to start gardening, having flowers, all that fun stuff. And don't be afraid of going to Lowe's or Home Depot or any one of those stores. It may just take you a time or two to, feel comfortable in the store. I mean, has a guy ever felt comfortable going into a Target, into a Sephora? Anyway, that concludes this solo Sunday episode of all the things that I've been distracted by this week, all the good, all the bad, all the crazy, all the random things. And thank you so much for listening. We will catch you guys next week. I did have to laugh at myself because last week's episode, I was like, woo, it's the 40th episode. Well, last week's episode was the first episode, so this week's at the 40th. And we couldn't be here without you guys. So leave us a comment, like, and subscribe. Send this episode to a friend, and we will be back with you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week.
All right, that's a wrap on our episode of Expertly Unqualified. If you stuck around this long,
you're either extremely loyal, extremely bored, or extremely caffeinated. Either way, we love that for you.
Make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review if you laughed, related, or were personally attacked by something we said. Find new episodes and more on our website, thepodmates.com.
And don't forget, follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Expertly Unqualified. Send us your stories, questions, or weird hot takes. You might just hear them on a future episode.
We are, as always,
Expertly Unqualified. Conversation's so fun, you'll forget we have no idea what we're doing.
Was it Podmates production?